Okay, good morning, all. So the last time we were discussing about the different, I showed you the IDE, the Android Studio that we'll be working on for the subject, and I showed you how to create a new project, what all these folders mean, that is the app folder, the source folder, the Java folder, the resource folder, the maps, drawable folders, value folder, etc. And I also told you about the two files, that is the build gradles, both the build gradles, the build gradle for at app level and the build gradle for the project level. uh, Quickly revising the things, I would like to say that this is your actual structure. I mean, this is how your project looks like. This is the folder for your project. Now these are the external libraries that Android will be using for itself. Coming to the next thing we have here is we have a dot gradle, we have a dot gradle folder here, so that will be that Android will be using for itself. Again, it's a auto generated folder. The dot idea folder is an auto generated folder. All the basic configurations or setting related things related to Android, related to to a project, the intermediary files, etc., all those things will be stored in them. And the main concern that we have over here is with the app folder. Okay, the app folder, in the app folder, again we have a build folder. The build folder, I showed you last time that it has some intermediate files, or the things, or the intermediate what you call outputs, or wherein you can find your apk file over here in the output folder. Besides that, we have a libs folder. The libs folder is something wherein you put your jar files. Last time I explained you something that in Android, right now we are using the IDE Android, but previously we were using the Eclipse. And for Eclipse, whenever you create a project, those projects were created using the jar files and all. So if you want to use some traditional library or something, or the third party library, if you want to use them, then you have to implement, or you have to put its jar file inside the libs folder right now if you want to use that. If generally, mostly all the third party libraries have been upgraded and we have a gradle file for them. But if you don't find a gradle file for some files or some libraries, then you have to put the jar file in your libs folder. Then the next thing that we have is the source folder, the very important thing that related to us, because that is in that folder we'll be finding the development and the designing files. Again, the Android test and the test folders are the auto generated folders, and we are not concerned, we are not no, it's not like that we are not concerned with it, but we are not actually doing anything in it right now. So we are concerned with the main folder we have. Again, in the main folder, it is again divided into three parts, sorry. That is your Java folder, your resource folder, and your Android manifest.xml. Now your Java folder is something wherein you put your development files, and the resource folder is something wherein you put your images and your designing portions, the .xml files. And finally, the last thing that we have is the manifest file. Okay, manifest file is something that I explained you the last time. Uh, I told you that what is a manifest file? It's a configuration file wherein you put all the configuration related data of your project. And if you want to differentiate an activity from another, or if you want to put some unique kind of things in a particular activity, then you can put all those settings in particular activity tag in your manifest file. The permissions that you want to take from the users, that you have to mention in your manifest file. Besides that, if you are using some uh, what do you call, camera or some other features related to your phone, I mean, if you want to use them, you need to again mention them here. If you want to use the external SDK or the internal storage or anything, you want to read the storage, write the storage, all those things you need to mention over here in the manifest file. And again, your Java folder contains the package folder, that is the package name of your app. For say, for example, here in this screen you can see that we have an Android manifest file open, and the package name is com.example.mylearningapp. So I have the same named folder over here, and inside that folder I have a Java file called main activity. Now this main activity is a Java file and it's a development file. And related to the main activity, I have a designing file, that is the activity underscore main.xml. Now in this uh, you will be putting your views or or the layouts that we want to use. So that will be placed in the activity underscore main.xml. The drawable folders and the map folders are something wherein you put the image files, and to be very specific, the map folders will contain the icons of your app, and the drawable files would contain the images that you are going to use in your project. Now, the values folder. The values folder again has three files, that is the colors.xml, the string.xml, and the style.xml. All these three files are something wherein you define the resources. So you can relate the name here that we have the resources. Resources is something that you will be using, the external things that you will be using in your project. So these are the external things, that is the images that you will be using, or some other what do you call, strings, or the styles that you want to use. All those things will be mentioned in the in this resource folder. So going to the colors.xml, all the colors that you want to use in your project, you can name them according to yourself and mention its hex code. Okay, write a question over here. I want to know, what if you want to use the RGB color? Can you mention it in colors.xml or not? And if not, so how can you provide RGB color in your app? I will be writing it here. If you are saying that you cannot use it, then I need a solution how to use it. Okay, the next thing that we have is the string.xml. The string.xml will contain all the strings that you are going to use in your app. Now, it's not necessary that you need to mention all the strings over here. I mean, there will be possibilities that at different places you are using strings and you need to get them. But say, for example, you have certain kind of a confirmation dialog that you want to show at different places, or something where the text is continuously, I mean, you are using the same kind of a text at lot of places, so that you can write over here. The benefit is that if in future, say, if your client asks you to change that string, that you, then you only need to change that string at a particular point. You don't just need to go at each and every place that you have mentioned that string. That is the basic purpose behind mentioning all the strings that you are going to use in this file, so that you can just use it everywhere. Say, for example, you have more than two forms, or like that, you are designing some different forms, and at each form you are going to take the name of the user, the password of the user, say for email id, phone number, etc. Then at each point you have to mention it either using the text view or either using the edit text, wherein you have to use that particular string. So if you hard code it there, then also you can do it. But then, as I told you, that if you want to change those things, then you have to go at each and every place, and then you have to change all those things. So it is recommended to use a string.xml file and mention the things over there. The next file that we have is the style.xml, and the style.xml file contains the basic style of your app, how you want to design your app, and how do you want to, it is something related to the UI of your app. Okay, quickly moving to the main activity.java. The main activity.java file is a file that is generated, and in that, last time I told you what is an activity, and I showed you different uh, files that can be opened when you click on the app compat activity. I mean, those files will be the file that the our class is extending the app compat activity, and when you go and click on that file, what other files can you see? So that is what I showed you last time. And besides that, I also gave an example of the activity life cycle, and we saw the live, I mean, we saw it live, how each and every state is executed. And as you already know, there are some certain methods for an activity, and the activity lifecycle starts with the on create method. Then we have the on start method. Then we have Do you remember the sequence of each and every method that goes? I mean, in the sequence, I don't want only the names of those methods. I want to know if you are aware about the sequence. Okay, quickly write down if you are aware about it. Anyone? Are you guys there, or you just left the thing? On stop. Yeah, three. On stop method is something that you didn't mention, but the sequence is correct. It's on create, on start, on resume, on pause, on stop, and then finally the on destroy method will be called. And this is how we mention all those things. Like for example, by default, you get this method on create overrided in this activity, and then we had overridden all the other methods that you can see over here. Besides that, I also told you about the logs. What is a log? Log is something that we use for debugging purpose, and this is how you use it. There are different kinds of logs. That is the verbose, the error. I showed you the logcat last time. So this is the logcat, and these are the different types of logs that we can use or that we can get. And the first argument that we pass here, now both the arguments are string over here. So the first argument that you pass is called the tag, and using the tag, you can search a particular log in the logcat. Okay. Now today we are gonna see about the intents. The another very important thing. I'm just commenting out all these things because I don't need all these things right now. Okay, so we are in the on create activity, on create method right now. And in the onCreate method, as you already know, the first thing that we do is set content view. And in this set content view, we are going to pass the name of the XML file that we want to show as the UI. Now, if you can directly go there from here also, you can just click on the control and you can click at this, so you can go in this file. Now this is your activity underscore main.xml, and right now I have only a text view that mentions hello Android. Last time I showed you the execution of this project, and today I am going to show you how an intent works. Okay, now but before that, what is an intent? Okay, intent is something that we can use when you want to navigate from one activity to another activity. Say for example, you are in some screen that shows a login page, but you have not yet registered, so you want to go to the registration page, and for that you can find the buttons, but the actual procedure behind it, that is the things that we use for developing or for actually executing that thing, that is called an intent. And intent is again a very important thing, because using an intent you can go from one activity to another. And besides that, we have two types of intent, so you can go from, I mean, there are two different possibilities. So right now you just understand it is something that we use for going from one screen to another. Say for example, if you are clicking on the login button, then you need to go to the main screen, so that process will be done using the intent. Okay, so right now I have only one activity over here, that is the main activity, and its XML file, that is the activity underscore main.xml. Now say for example I'm creating another activity, so I will just go at the package, I will just right click over here, and then I will create a new, and I will go to the activity. In the activity, I'll be going to the empty activity, because I mean, I don't want anything predefined. So I'm just using an empty activity. So it will be asking me the name, name of the activity. That is, what do you want to name this activity? Say for example, it is named as main activity 2, and its layout file would be named as activity underscore main 2 dot xml. Okay. Now here it is asking if you want to use this as a launcher. So I told you that in the manifest file, when you use the intent filter with particular activity, it will be launched as a launcher. But right now I have main activity, the first predefined activity that I have, as a launcher. So I don't want to use this one as a launcher. So I'm not ticking over that. And then I will just go and click on the finish. Now right now some process is going on. This is the place that shows you that some process is going on. And beside that, now you can see that there are two activities, that is main activity and main activity 2. Now main activity 2 has again a content view set, that is set content view, and it has the another layout file that we have. Again, this is auto generated along with it. This is the activity underscore main 2. Now activity underscore main 2 was an empty class because we didn't use anything in it. I mean, we have just used an empty activity. So for right now, I'm just going to put a another what do you call, a text view over here. So I'm just going and taking this content and going and just putting it here because I'm using the same thing. I just want to change the text. So from hello Android, I am just going to change this to hello second activity. Clear? So this is the another page that I have, and it has a content written hello second activity. The first one had hello Android. Okay, so this is the things that, that is related to the designing. Now going to the actual development. But before that, I want to show you something. Is say see this manifest file. Now before this, the manifest file did not had this thing. That is the another activity has been registered over here because I created an activity, that is main activity under array, main activity 2, that has been created. So it shows it has been registered over here. But now, say for example, if you're not directly creating an activity, there is another method also with which you can create an activity, and I would like to show the difference between them. Say for example, if I'm going to the package and I'm creating a new Java class, and it will be asking me the name of the class. So say for example, I'm writing main activity tree, and this is the third activity that I have created. Now, because this is an activity, because it does not extend anything, it is not an activity. It's just a Java class, so that will not be registered in your manifest file. Now, lots of students do this kinds of mistakes, so I am showing it here. Your second main activity 3 is not registered over here in this manifest file, as you can see, because I have created that as a class and not as an activity. So for using that, what I have to do is I have to use extends, say appcompat activity. So now it is extending the appcompat activity, and now going to the manifest file, I have to register that activity. Then only I can use it. Otherwise, when you run it, you will get a runtime error telling that the activity has not been registered in the manifest. So this is how you register an activity in the manifest. You just go and write it out this way. This is how you mention the activity. But again, because it was not developed as an activity, we have created a Java class for this. So you will not be getting the layout folder, layout file for the same. So you have to create another layout file also. You can go to here and then you can select the layout resource files. That way you can create a layout if you want to use it. Okay, this is what I showed you because I want, I mean, a lot of students would be using this way to create an activity, but what they do is they forgot to mention or mentioning the activity in the manifest file, so you will get an error later. So this is why I told you. Okay, but right now we are not doing anything with the main activity 3. So we were in the main activity 1, and from the main activity 1 we want to go to main activity 2. But for that we need some kind of event to be occurred so that we can go to the second activity. So we just go and simply put a button over here, and by clicking on that button we'll go to the another activity. Say for example, I am putting a button here. I am putting it's now here two things are very important to be learned. That is the layout width and the layout height. Whenever you are using a particular container, I mean the layout or a particular view, you are supposed to mention the width and the height of the view that you are using. Say for example, this is the relative layout as you can see. So the relative layout has been defined with the width that has a value called match parent and the height that has a value called match parent. What does this mean? So the layout, the relative layout is the layout over here, and when you mention that layout width is equal to match parent, this means its width should match the parent, and by default here the parent is your screen, so its width will be equal to the size of the screen. Besides that, we have the height is equal to match parent, so that means the height of the activity or the relative layout would be equal to the height of the activity. But by default you get three options over here. If you go and just click control space, then you will get such kind of an option menu over here. Now it has two options. The third one is now degraded, so we don't generally use it now. So the two things that we have is the wrap content and the match parent. So these things are covered in the later portion, but I want to clear it right now because then only I can show you how am I putting the button over here. So when you use wrap content, what do you mean by wrap content? Say for example, the number of, say for example, you have three buttons in your project, in your screen, and all these three buttons are placed below, vertically below each other. Then they would be occupying certain space. After that, there would be some empty space there. So when you say relative layout is equal to wrap content, the height of the relative layout will be equal to the height of the three buttons that you have placed inside it. Clear? Are you clear with what I said right now? Okay. So when you mention wrap content, all the activities or everything that you are putting inside it would be the height or the width of the particular parent would be equal to the number of views that you have put inside it. So say for example, I want to put a button that has a width that is equal to the width of the, what do you call, the width of the parent. So I will be writing here match parent, and the height should be wrap content. That is, after that text it does not need to put the things then. Now the last time I told you that whenever you are using a relative layout, it starts putting each and every element from the top left corner. Now as you can see over here, see the button has been placed here, that is in the top place, and because it is occupying the whole width, it has been stretched over here. But here I want to put this button below this hello android, so I would just be using below. Why below? Because we have a relative layout, and I told you that in a relative layout you can use the properties such that shows some relation between each other. Say for example, I want to use this button, I want to place this button below the text view, so I can just simply go and write here layout below. And below what? So for that I need to provide an id. Okay, important thing over here is that for each and every layout or for each and every view or a view control that you are using in your android application, that has to do something with the clicks, or that has to show something, those all the things needs to be provided and unique id, because based on that you will be showing what you want to do. So I want to say that I want to place this button below the text view, so I am just going to go here and I will mention the id over here. Say for example, for the text view I am mentioning the id. Now for mentioning the id you are supposed to write @ plus id and slash. Okay, by default you will be getting this thing when you go and click on the control space. By going at this point, that is android id is equal to double quotes, and if you go there and you just click on the control space, then you will be getting this thing, the auto suggested code. So there you are simply going to use this thing, that is at the rate plus id, and then you will be providing the id. Say for example, I am using the text, this is a text view, so I am using the name of it as txt1. And so now when I want to say that I want to place this button below this text view, I can use it this way. I want to use it below txt1, so I'll be just using at the rate id slash txt1. Now as you can see that the button has moved down below the text view. This is how you put things inside the relative layout. I mean, you can mention the different relations like above it, below it, to the right of, to the left of, etc. There are lots of possibilities that you can use in the relative layout. And right now I have used the layout below. Okay. Now I want to name, I want to just show something on this button like submit or something. So what I will be doing is I'll be just using the text property. Say for example, I'm using text is equal to, and then I will be writing submit over here. So if you can see here, the text has been shown on the button. So after that, what I want to do is when I click on this button, I want to go to different place. Okay. Besides that, I have lots of other properties that are possible over here. All these things are for aligning or putting your particular button at different points. And if you want to put the text size or text color or anything like that, that also is available. So you can see here text size, text color hint, alignment, all caps, appearance, etc. You can show different kinds of, you can design, you can format that particular button as per your wish. But for right now, I'm just putting this button and I want to use it. So I hope you are clear with how to put a button and how to place it below the particular text view and how to apply the text over it. Okay. But again, as I told you that whenever I'm going to use something that has some kind of event to be occurred based on it, then I need to provide an id. Now as I already told you that I want to click on this submit button and go to another activity, so I have to provide the id to this button also. I will just simply go there and write ID and use the first one, that is at the rate plus ID. And then because it is a button, I'll be using the text BTN. And then because it is a submit button, I'll be using BTN submit. This is how you generally name in a particular button, because if you just go and write BTN1, BTN2, BTN3, then you each and every time you have to go and find out what ID you have applied to each and every button. So it is recommended that you provide the name of each and every view or each and everything that you are using based on its functionality. So this is called the button submit. Now the main thing starts, that is in the Java portion. So say for example, I am in the, I have put all these things in my main activity, sorry, activity main.xml. So this activity main.xml is associated with my main activity. So I'll simply go into the main activity, and here I will be writing the code for actual going from one activity to another. Now for that I have to use the click of the button. So for that I have to create the object of this button. Now the button, the text view, all these things are the classes that have been developed in Android. So for making an object of a particular class, and for here we have the button, so I will be creating, using the name of the button, that is the name of the class, that is button, and the object name I will be using over here is again btn submit. So this is what I have done, is the way you create an object of a class in Java, the same thing I have used, the name of the class and the name of the object. After that, the important thing over here is that when you create the object, you need to initialize it, or you need to provide some kind of memory to it. After that only you can perform different actions on it. So for right now, I want to create an event such that when I click on this button, I want to go to another page. So what I will do is I will just initialize this thing. So I will be using the name of the object. Now how do you initialize an object in Java is name of the object is equal to new and class name. But for Android, what do we use is we are going to use find view by id, and then we are going to map the object that we have placed in the xml file. Say for example, here we have btn submit, and then I will be using, now this is a method that we have. The name of the method is find the view using the id. What does it say is finding the view by using its id. So its name is find view by id. and inside that we are going to write r dot id dot btn submit. Now where did it came from? So again, the last time I told you that we have an R file called the configuration file, or sorry, the mapping file, wherein we are writing that this activity is related to this XML file and all the objects that we have in it. Say here, as we use that set content view, and in set content view we are using r dot layout because that was a layout file that we were using for setting the content, and then we named the name of the XML file that we have, that is this file. Now again, these things are located in this, this button is located in this file. So what I can do is find view by ID r dot. Now this is the ID. So we'll be using ID here. Now here we use layout because it was a layout file, and here we are searching for an ID. So this is an ID. And what is the ID? The ID that you have provided over here. For the button, I have provided the ID at the rate plus ID slash btn submit, and the same way btn is small and s is capital. We'll be using the camel notation over here in the Java. The way you use it in the Java, the same way we'll be using it over here. So using the ID, I have initialized this particular button. Now I can use the click events on this button. So say for example, I want to go to another page. So what I will do is I will just simply write a click event for this. Now what is it and how do you use it? What interface it is? All these things I will be telling you when I will be telling you about the button as a view. Right now we are interested into the intent. So right now simply just understand what I am trying to say. And if you have a question, you can always ask. But right now just accept what I am telling. Say for example, I want to write an on click listener. So I will be writing dot set on click listener. So see, you can see in the auto suggestions, this is the first listener that we have. So I'll be just going and simply clicking it. And then I have to again initialize this particular listener because I am using it. So for initializing here, I will be using new and new view dot on click listener. Because it is a view, so it's view dot on click listener. When you initialize this thing, you get an overridden method over here, the overridden method of the listener interface. This is an interface that we use, that is used for performing the click events that we have. We have a long click, we have on click, etc. There are different touch listener, etc. There are lots of listeners that have been mentioned in Android, and right now we are using the on click listener. This is an interface. Again, I am telling you the way you can extend this activity over here. You can simply implement this interface over here also, that I'll be showing when I will be conducting the buttons particular topic. So right now we are concerned with the intent, as I told you. So after this, I have got this method called the on click event. Now I am going to create the intent, and I will be showing you how do you go from one class to another. But where are you supposed to write the code for it? Inside the on click method. Now this is the code that is auto generated, and I'll be writing the code inside the on click method, between these two curly braces. So I'll be going here and I will be writing the object. Again, intent is a class, so I'll be writing the name of the class. See, you can see here intent, and it's written android.content. So content is the parent class of this particular intent. And if you further go there, then it is the object class will be the final class for the intent. So I'll be just simply going and clicking it. So what is it? Intent is the class, and the name of the object is, say for example, I am using I. Then I will be initializing it. So is equal to and new, and then I will be putting again intent. This is how we initialize a particular object in Java. The same way we are doing it over here. Now, inside the intent class has a particular constructor that uses that a parameterized constructor, and in that you are supposed to pass two arguments. Okay, the first argument would be from which activity you are going, and the another parameter would be at which activity you want to go. Say for example, right now we are in main activity.java. So there we are supposed to provide the reference of this activity. So for providing a reference of an activity in Java, you use activity dot this. This is how you use the name of the, sorry, this is how you use the reference of a particular activity. Say for example, this now I want to go to the main activity 2. So I will be write after the first parameter and the comma, I'll be writing the name of the another activity, that is the main activity 2 and dot class. Why dot class? Because the activity is yet not been compiled, and so I will not be getting the code for it. So right now it would be in the class format, dot class format. So I'll be writing just dot class file over here, and I will be simply putting a semicolon over here. Now what does this whole line mean? Again, intent is the class of the name of the class. I is the name of the object. Then I'm initializing it using the new keyword. Again, the name of the class. The first argument would be the activity from which I want to go. The second argument would be to which activity I want to go, and because we are using it a dot class because it is not yet been compiled, so this will be main activity to dot class. And the last thing that we need to do over here is start activity. Start activity is again a method that we use for starting the activity. And in the start activity, you are supposed to pass the object of I. What is I? The object of intent. This is what you are passing in the start activity. This is how you are going to mention the things in the intent. You have to initialize the intent using two arguments, the activity that you are in with, I mean the reference of it, and the activity that you want to go in with dot class. And then finally you will be using a start activity, and you will be passing the value of the intent object, that is I. This is how. Now I'll be showing you the output of this thing. See, by default you can see the first activity named hello Android, and we have a button called submit. Now if I go and click on this submit button, I'll be sent to another activity, and you can see here hello second activity, the second activity that we had, and the text view that we mentioned over there. Clear? Okay. So this is how you navigate from one activity to another using an intent. And there are two types of intent that you need to be clear about. The two intents are called the implicit intent and the explicit intent. Now, what do you mean by an implicit intent and an explicit intent? Say, for example, right now we have mentioned that we want to go from one activity, that is main activity, and we want to go to the main activity too. So here you are mentioning both the things, that is from where you want to go where. So that is called an explicit intent, wherein you mention the name of the activity that you want to go in. Besides that, if you want to open a web view or something, or if you want to open a camera app, or you want to open the contacts that are stored in your phone, so for that you can use the intent, and that intents are called the implicit intents. In it you are supposed to provide the URI of the place that you want to go in, that is whether it is contacts or the gallery or anything. So this is an important question as compared to the, I mean, with reference to the interviews that you will be facing. So keep that in mind. Okay, if you have any question, you can ask, or else we will end it right now.
મેમ મને ઓલો આરજીબી વાળો ક્વેશ્ચન નહીં સમજાણો.
મેં એવું પૂછ્યું કે colors.xml ની અંદર આપણે હેક્સ કોડ લખીએ છીએ એની બદલે if I want to use an RGB code, how do I use it?
RGB કોડમાં તમારું ઇન્ટીજર 0 to 255 ની વાત કરો. ઓકે.
એટલે ઈ colors.xml માંથી મેન્શન થઈ જશે, જાવા માંથી થાય જ મને ખબર છે. આ નથી ખબર એટલે મને જાણીને કહો.
ઓકે.
Okay, any questions? Any doubts? Any problems?